All right, welcome to the On My Block Packers preview podcast. I'm your host, Mike Wall, along with Packers all-time leading rusher, Ahman Green. How we doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm excited for this game. So
yes,
we used to play on Thursday nights when it was Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving only. Now these guys are playing all the time. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Like, I don't necessarily like it as a player, but when I put my fan hat on, I haven't watched football since Monday. I swore off football on Monday after another bad referee call. But I was only swearing off until Thursday. So with that said, let me get into this read real quick. Basketball's back. Thursday Night Football's back. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet your favorite sports and events, whether that's the NFL, NBA, National Hockey League, MMA, tennis, boxing, esports, golf. We got it all. So head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use your promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Ahman, we're coming off first win. So we're 1-5 in the last 6, but we're 1-0 in the last 1. So just it's all
how you look at it, it's perception. Yep.
But we are going into a Thursday night football game, and we're trying to make it 2 in a row against the 6-3 Tennessee Titans, a good football team.
Very good.
I think it's actually tailor-made for what we want to do right now. We'll get into it a little bit more, but there's a lot of people who are thinking like this is a problem. This is a problem game for the Green Bay Packers because the way they can run and stop the run on the Tennessee side.
Yep.
But here's the first thing, maybe the most important right now: the injury reports on both sides are pretty serious. So we've got Devondre Campbell and Dobbs are already out, but Bakhtiari and Jenkins didn't practice yesterday, and they're questionable for the game. Mm-hmm. So our left side of our line, our 2 best offensive linemen, questionable, both with knees. And I mean, obviously Jenkins had the ACL, but like, I don't understand what's going on. Can you fill me in? Like, you're up there, maybe you're ear to the grindstone. Like, what is going on with his knee?
I have heard nothing. This is like questionable. Seeing that when I just pulled everything up to get ready for the stream today. Was like, oh, that's new. I'm like, what? I mean,
does he have sympathy pains? Like, I'm not trying to minimize it, man, because Bakhtiari's got like real problems.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, dude, what do you mean you're hurt? You can't be hurt. You're like 24. You cannot be hurt.
No, I don't know what it is. I mean, in terms of Dave, I just remember not too long ago talking to, I can't remember who I talked to about his surgery, and then he had some infection. After the main surgery, which was now 2 years ago, but obviously the remnants of an infection obviously is bad. So that means growth of muscle. That means recovery of the muscle, coming back full go. But he's out there playing. So it's like, where I think it's more maybe a mental thing. Obviously, he doesn't want to get hurt again. I get that. But when you are saying, okay, I'm ready to go now, and I've been playing throughout the season, you got to flip that switch and just be like, all right, if it happens, at least I'm going to happen playing my best, playing hard.
Though.
Like, right. I mean, he's great at his position. Yeah, he's so good. That's why I said you got to question yourself there.
I just saw the stat, and it's like, minimum number of snaps is like 200 snaps or something.
Right.
But I think he's the only lineman in the league, or left tackle in the league, that has not given up a sack or a quarterback pressure in 200 or a quarterback hit, knockdown.
I believe
200
that.
snaps. So it's crazy because he's next level, but then he might not. This might be the second week out of 3 that he didn't play.
Right.
Gosh, I don't know what we're gonna do now. On the other side of the Tennessee side. Okay. They've been beat up, like they have been ravaged all year, and they're still playing at a high level. Tannehill's been out.
He just got back.
Obviously, Derrick Henry. Right now, so Ben Jones, their best offensive lineman and center, is out. Okay.
Concussion.
Amani Hooker out. Bud Dupree, their pass rusher, he plays right defensive end. He'd be playing over Bakhtiari. Out. Now Jeffrey Simmons, who I did not give Jeffrey Simmons. I got something going on with this thing over here. I got Jeffrey Simmons. I never give this guy credit for like the last 2 years because like
he's an animal. He's a problem.
He beat up on the Rams last year, and I'm like, the Rams, offensive line sucks. Blah blah. Dude, this guy played. He played a game against the interior line of the Houston Texans like 2-3 weeks ago. Bro,
right.
I haven't seen anybody like that since like Haynesworth or Chris Jenkins. Like he destroyed these dudes, and he's questionable. So fingers crossed on that.
Oof. Yeah, because that'll be a blessing if he doesn't play. They try to save him for the rest of the season because he's getting compared. He's doing some Aaron Donald type things out there. Not quite obviously consistently, but getting close.
Aaron's tough because So Jeffrey Simmons is huge.
Yes, he's a big guy.
You think of like Chris, you think of Albert Hainsworth when he wanted to play.
Yep.
Those guys, you're like, okay, I can see why they're dominant and they're huge and they got all the stuff going for them. Calais Campbell's like a guy where if you stood next to Calais Campbell, you'd be like, oh yeah, you must be really good because he can tickle your nose from like across the hall. But Donald, like you just can't figure out my brain doesn't work well enough to like look at him and go, I don't even know where I would grab him because he's short.
He's short. He's my height. He's like 6'1", 6 feet. And it's like, what the hell?
Like they say off the books, dude, the dude's only like 270. I think he's but even if he's 280, you're going, no way. And all of a sudden he throws you across the bar.
Yeah, because he's strong and you owe that to his dad. Putting him in the weight room at age 8 and never let him come out the basement.
He had that basement, right? Yeah, he had the basement workout.
Yeah, one of my older brothers had a basement workout facility in his basement, so I know that life. Oh my goodness! But he's a problem.
Let me ask you this: we talked about it a little bit earlier. We touched on it at least. Is it time to call quits on these Thursday games? Because you think about, I mean, you just look at how many guys are out and how many guys like this knee, like the knee thing, for example. I don't think, and I'm not trying to put down this generation, you know. Yeah. Cristiano Ronaldo actually just said this morning, he actually was in an interview with Piers Morgan. One of the things that he said he's bashing Manchester United. One of the things he said, he was like, these kids, this generation, like they don't have the same
mental.
He wasn't like trying to put him down. He's basically like their brand, they're on TikTok, they're all this other stuff distracting, like they're not as hungry. And
yes.
I don't think, and this is not an insult, but I honestly don't think these guys are built or like designed or produced, whatever the word is. They're not developed to play on short rest anymore.
No, they're not built like us. That's basically what you say. And yeah, it's not.
I don't want to say it that way, but yeah,
they're not built like us. And I'm not saying it kind of like you. I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's just what we went through, and we talked about it before on the show. Our training camp, in 4 days of training camp, we had 4 full contact days. Both, I mean, 8.
Usually, yeah.
Eight practices. That's what I mean. That's what I meant. I meant 8. I mean 4 days, but 8 practices.
Yeah.
4 days, 8 practices, full contact. So by that 4th day, you are in rigor mortis mode. You don't know if you're coming or going. It's Groundhog Day. You wake up, you're still in the same clothes. You go to bed, you're like, what the hell is going on? But then our bodies calcified. They got tough. We knew how to bang. We knew how to fall down and catch ourselves and pick ourselves up. And it's because I remember back when Sam Shields, great DB, he came out of the game early because of concussions for the Packers. Mm-hmm. He was a rookie when they won the Super Bowl. And that next year or 2 years after that, it had to be the 2012 season. When I saw him on game, covering the receiver and trip and fall down and bust his shoulder. And I'm like, what the hell did I just see?
You're saying they didn't get to play outside when they were kids.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
You know, you're saying that stuff.
You're saying they need to go climb some trees.
We need to climb the tree, fall out the tree, you know.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely true.
You dust yourself off. Yeah. Like, oh, man. But so, yeah, it's like, I'm like, come on. High ankle sprain. I know I played like with 12 of them. Like, I hear that every week, even in basketball. I'm like, come on, high ankle sprain. I'm like, get off the court. Yeah, don't come on the court. You
know what the problem is, too? I mean, if we're just being honest, like, I remember myself being tougher than I actually was. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like my injuries, you know, so like our injuries were more severe than theirs are. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of that going on here. But I think everything you're saying is true. But I just know that like my own personal, like my kids will be like, dude, you weren't that tough. And I go, yeah, you're probably right. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But having said that,
yeah,
it's with the amount of it's like guys take Wednesdays off now. We never used to do that. Earlier in their career,
Tuesdays and Wednesdays off.
Earlier in their career than they ever did.
Yep.
It's just listen. If you don't, it's like if you're not constantly grinding. We call it greasing the groove and lifting, right? If you want to get good at something, you got to do it over and over and over. If you want, because you want your body to like repeat that pattern so you can do it automatically.
100%.
If you don't do that, if you're not used to doing that, if you're not doing that in all part of your process, like it is really hard to get healthy. But enough of the old head stuff.
Yeah.
So AG, we finally found a balance on offense last week. We run for 200, we throw for 200.
Beautiful.
We're coming off a win in a short week. We're playing against a team that's really good against the run, really good against really good running the ball, and really good against the run. But what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so Green Bay's now averaging 18.5 points a game. So we're up from 17.1 last week. We're giving up 21, which is like respectable at 16th in the league, but on balance, you can see why we're 1-5 the last couple of weeks.
Exactly.
Our yards per rush is damn near 5. We're at 4.9. We're doing 130 yards a game. Those are all good numbers from the running game, and it only went up last week, obviously. Right. We're giving up too much on the run with Derrick Henry coming in, 4.8 yards per carry, 140 yards a game.
Yep.
And what I'm wondering is the formula that worked last week, it seems like it has to work this week in order for us to be successful.
It does.
The big question is, do you think, and this is kind of a fundamental question for you, Jesus, like, do you think Matt LaFleur has to have Aaron Rodgers throw the ball? Is there a need when he goes home? Is there like, man, I have to have the kid throw 35 times a game?
No.
Or do you think he's satisfied just going, I just want to win. If he has to throw it 20 times, I'll do that every single game. Right? Because until last week, it didn't look that way.
I say if he studied, which I know he did because he's the coach, he studied this film and watched the film and broke it down on every level. Remember what they did last week and stick to that script. Just go with the game, but leave with the run in every situation. Start every drive off if you can, especially that first drive with run. 2-3 straight run plays, and then off a play action, then a pass off that. Continue with that because that is the secret sauce. Because we said it, the simpleness for the players they have. So you look in your locker room between guys that are out, between guys that have the experience to play, and now guys that are gained a little bit of confidence, Christian Watson, to catch the ball and get open. Now, but you'll keep going to those guys, but stick with what you're doing and not change a whole lot. Just add another layer of a play action pass off a run play that they already have going on there. That's it. Because this defense, as you mentioned, stingy. Their coach was a stingy player as a linebacker. He knew his stuff, coached by Bill Belichick, who takes your best players away, and he understands that in his process of getting his team ready to play football. So.
He's 14 for 20, 208 yards and 3 touchdowns last week.
Yeah.
Now that stat line I just praise QBR is probably off the charts, whatever their metrics is, whatever the nerd, whatever. But it's 3 touchdowns. The thing that's most important is we were down 14 and they stuck to the game plan.
Exactly.
Because usually that 14 point, we've been in these games, dude, and it just depends where it is. But 14, all of a sudden they're like, AG, you might as well go sit on the bench, bro, because we ain't running the ball anymore.
Yeah, we're belling.
Yeah, everybody else, hey, Fox 2 all go, right? So if they can continue to do that, because we're going to show some tape. Like, Derrick Henry is as big a freak athlete as anything you've ever seen in your lifetime. Like, he's different.
Man.
So Mike Vrabel is one of my favorite guys. He's one of the best coaches in the league. And the thing that for me, kind of knowing him through our agent and kind of, knowing him through some friends and seeing this from afar, he is one of the best at preparing guys to play a physical brand of football. Like this is one of those situations where, in my opinion, your team completely is the reflection of the personality of your coach.
Yep.
Right. And that's where we've had some situations this year where you might say that the other team is playing more physical than we have. Like, Detroit's probably the most recent example, although I thought we played very good against the Cowboys. I can also make the argument that they ran for a ton against us, and Aaron Jones is creating a lot of things. We talked about the Titans and how well they did, but there's all of that. But this is one of those teams that can really put it on you. They're not scoring a lot of points, but they're not giving up very many points. They're giving up like 18 points a game.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of those games this is something's got to give, and it just depends what kind of party are we going to try to crash tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I said very stingy. That means well disciplined in tackling, and the D line knows how to fill their gaps along with linebackers.
We'll show it last week. We'll show it from last week because the Broncos actually did a fantastic job. I think they held Derrick Henry like 53 points. Now,
53 yards. It was
53 yards. Sorry,
53.
But
19 rushes.
Ryan Tannehill's back, and I knew Tanny from Miami, and I got to tell you, everyone's got their own sense and sensibility about Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is a tough SOB, right? The kid is a competitor. He was a wide receiver in college from A&M. Yep. Mike Sherman, like our guy, brought him over, drafted him. Him and Joe drafted him to Miami. And listen, you go through a bunch of different offensive coordinators, things don't work out. Like I was with that second regime, like you had no chance in that regime, the way things were going with the leadership there. So he gets over here, he does really well. He gets a big contract. and he leads them to the playoffs. Last year, I think they were the #1 seed, but then he throws like 3 picks in the Cincinnati game, right, against Joe Burrow. So there's still these question marks around him. One thing he can do, and it kind of suits this offense, great at play action pass, great on the move. The kid can absolutely scoot. Like he's not as dynamic a runner as like Lamar Jackson, but as far as straight line speed, he can absolutely move. They got Treylon Burks back. He's been out for a week. He was our #1 pick in the mock draft this year. That was either him or Christian Watson for us going back and forth. Super talent. But really, it's going to come down to one guy. Can we stop the big man? So
big boy in the middle.
Let's watch a little bit of this tape.
Space Eater.
These guys are run first, right?
Yes.
This is a run first offense. They run 54% of the time. They got guys, they're running 12 and 13 personnel. We're going to show a couple different things here. I just want it's kind of like an appreciation post almost to watch this guy in action.
Yeah.
You see the way that he makes one cuts and hits the hole. And it's like, good luck trying to arm tackle this guy. No, I mean, he's got that kind of speed that's sustainable. And you look at this, so they get into 12 personnel. And what I want you to notice here is the double teams are fantastic, and they do a great job of cutting off the backside. So 87 does his job against a starting defensive end in the National Football League. When your tight end can do the job on the backside, you get big, big plays. So here they go fullback, but again, it's just 12 personnel. This is against the Houston Texans. Yeah. And again, I think it's the right tackle now. If we watch the right tackle from the end zone copy, AG, I mean, you tell me what you see here as you're running this play. So they're going to shift. They're just going to run. They're just going to run inside zone to the left.
Isn't it 92 blast or 93 blast?
So AG. So this is more like a 60 lead, right? Because the back.
I'll say 93. I'll say 93. Well, yeah, without the fullback, right? Yeah, without the fullback, so it's 60. Yeah, so I'll say 63.
So tell me what your read is here as a running back here. You're running, so it's inside. So for everybody else at home that doesn't know what 60 is, inside zone to the left. We're running inside zone left. Tell me what your read is.
My first read, I'm looking at the outside hip of that play side guard. So when I see him, how he's getting up to that D lineman, then I know, okay, that hole's starting to get secure. And I see the center coming off, about to be the double team. So I know I have a two-way go. Now, the backside, number 90 for the Texans, if he gets cut off properly, I'll have a three-way go. So I keep my shoulders square and my body square, because then by the time I get the ball, I'll know which way I can go in this play. And boom, there it is. So you have the push off with the center and the guard, where I think that's 91 from the Texans getting pushed out of there, and then 90 is cut off. That's enough. I mean, it's not the best.
That tackle did a great job right there, because he's really by himself. The guard leaves early. The right guard leaves early to get on that linebacker.
Exactly. So it's not the best, but it's enough. Sometimes it's all you need is enough. And when you got Derrick Henry, that's all you need is enough. And because he's going to shoot through there, as you hit play, he's going to fire through there. And by the time he gets tackled, he's at 10 yards.
Yeah. I mean, just an incredible talent, but great job by then. So now we're going to they go nickel across. They're just in 11 personnel. So everybody's going to try to match these guys. Like they're matching with 7 in the box, or they're going to overhang 6 in the box, or overhang safety. Okay. But it's almost like if you're not fully committed to the run, it's just not going to happen like you want, because they're essentially running the kick play here, AG, where they're bringing everybody down and they want him to go 1v1 versus this corner. Dude, look at this escape speed by a 250-pound back. Look at this.
He was on.
Bye-bye.
Stiff arm. More stiff arms. Cut back. That's a problem.
That's that Derek Stingley Jr. Great. He's going to be a great player in this league. That rookie number 24 for the Texans. Yeah. Great player. But it's like a guy coming in from the college football realm has never seen anything like what he just saw. Like what just literally flashed in front of his eyes as he took off like the damn Roadrunner.
Yeah, it's like this guy's a tight end size, but he runs nimble. He's fast, and that's a problem.
We got 13 personnel here, 2 tight ends and the fullback, so we can look at it 22 or 13, depending on how you want to talk it out with that fullback. But you just look again.
Beautiful. And see, what I want to point out here, this is where the mindset where Derrick Henry's at. He's not even looking at 22 when he breaks the line of scrimmage. He's looking at the end zone. And that's where running backs got to have that mindset is, when I get the ball, I'm taking it to the house. Whatever hits me going there, but he's already mindset. If you look, he's not even dealing with 22. He's maybe concerned about the D lineman and 50 to his side, but after that, he's running right past 22.
Which is that you're talking about the safety. And
yes.
That's what 22. I was going to that's what I was going to bring up, man. It's like it's crazy that the safety is like, watch the safety. He's surprised by the speed.
Yeah.
He's surprised right here. Oh, Oh, he's faster than I thought.
Yeah, and he's out. Almost a touchdown.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so that right there is the element of surprise, and for most teams, Dillon in the division is not a surprise because you see Derrick Henry's 250, and what he worked on this year, what I've noticed, he's got that foot movement out. And I mentioned this with AJ Dillon. So sometimes AJ being 250, what is good for a D lineman or defense to do is stop his feet. So they have that quick penetration and make him restart. So then I mentioned this before, then his momentum, he has to start from 0 to go back to 60 miles per hour, whatever, get downhill. And so that's a bonus. That's a win for a defense alignment, defense to have that happen. And now Derrick has worked on that. So when he does have to reset, he's back to full speed in 2 steps. So that's something he's learned as a pro. And I was like, oh my God, now he's doing something really special.
He's great. So Malik Willis played for a couple of games when Tannehill was out. Tannehill has the same ability as far as running with the football. But you see here, they can run these RPOs, and it's like, if you don't hang it, quarterback's out the gate, right? Because everyone's committed to that. So this is what the Packers are facing. How do you stop it? Well, the Denver Broncos did a great job of stopping Derrick Henry last week. And what they did is they just committed an extra linebacker. Yeah. They said, we're going to go back to an old school. We're going to have 3 linebackers in the game. And why is this so important for us? Because we've been talking about getting Isaiah McDuffie on the field this week, right? Devondre Campbell's out. I don't know if Chris Barnes is going to be back, but Isaiah McDuffie, Quay is going to be in there. Hopefully Chris Barnes is back. And now we can get 3 linebackers in the game. You see, they got an 8 in the box look here with 5 down defensive linemen.
Yeah, they got a bare front right there. And everybody's playing gaps and not moving or being taken out of their gap. And that's a good job by the Broncos D-line and their linebackers.
So what when we say playing gaps, we talk about bare fronts. What we're essentially saying is, for all the fans out there, is the ideal scenario for a defense is to create as many one-on-one matchups as you can. Because what we're essentially saying is, on offense, for Derrick Henry to be successful in plays like this, we have to win every single one of these matchups across the board, which means that, conversely, on defense, they just have to win somewhere. Like if one of these guys gets penetration, if one of them sheds the block early, if anything like that happens, well, then they can make Derrick Henry cut early in the backfield, which you just said he's been working on. But still, if there's any way to stop him, that's probably the formula.
Exactly. Let's watch this.
So you see, 98 gets off on Ben Jones. We make the play.
97 gets in there and gets his head in there to slow him down too. There you go. Ooh, the linebacker hits that gap. Go back. Oh, I love that.
We'll go.
Was that 47? 47. Yeah. Ooh, he looked like it got on John Lynch number coming down like John Lynch. And that's what you have to do to a guy like this, because he's 250 and he's already making people before the season starts, they're making business decisions. So this guy made a business decision. He's like, you know what? I don't know if he's thinking this, but he's most likely thinking, I'm coming downhill. I'm going to bring the fight to him. And that's what he did on this play to Derrick.
Josie Jewell, number 47, mark it down in your calendars, man. This guy can play. And if you look at this again, 53, 49, if you start just reeling off these numbers from left to right, they each have a gap. So 47, what AG's talking about is all 47's doing, like this isn't rocket science. He's just filling his gap.
That's it.
That's all he's doing. 91 took the A. He went outside to B, filled it hard. He knows that Derrick Henry has to show up there. That's all we're going to do, right?
Can you take it back real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So I can show you if he doesn't fill this gap, what the problem is going to be. So when you run it, the center is trying to reach to him, to reach to 47. And if he doesn't use the speed and the instincts that he does, then he's going to get caught up where 60 is going to come to him. And then Derrick has a cut right there, because the back 93 is double teamed with the tight end and the other tight end. So he's gone. Now, if he, like I said, if he doesn't hit that gap, 47 does not hit that gap, then you're talking about a 10-yard gain and maybe more dealing with Derrick Henry.
Absolutely. And this might even be a run stunt because 91 takes that step inside from the B gap to the A gap. So this might be one of the run stunts, which we know that Denver runs. Next play here, we got a 5-man, we got essentially a 3-4, 2 outside backers, 53 and 42. And 42 is just going to spike through here, make a play. And the most important part about all this is like they're making these plays in the backfield. And I think that's really the only way from a penetration standpoint. That's how you make plays. He doesn't make the play, but he makes the play, right? Like, in other words, he doesn't make the tackle.
He slows him down.
But he makes the play, right?
Yep.
Now, as you can imagine, AG, when you run the ball as well as they do, as you're committed, you run 12 and 13 personnel all the time, you are going to be pretty good in play action pass. And
you better be.
You look how the Chiefs defense is sucked up right here. I mean, that's That's out of a movie.
Yeah.
So I think this is Austin Hooper out here. They're tied in, running a simple corner or a sail 7. Yep. And like not a great throw by the quarterback, but wide open. Here's again, Austin Hooper. Probably, for being honest, he's probably he might be their best target, most consistent target, at least, but has the best history in the National Football League. I think that Treylon Burks is going to be great. Robert Woods is coming off of the ACL, but starting to become productive. But really, like this guy was doing it in Atlanta for a long time. He's a good player. You see, they put him out on the slot, and he's just a big body you can throw to, man. He's a 245, 250-pound tight end. He's not the greatest blocker in the world, but he's a little bit better than some of these new age tight ends.
Right.
You guys can get it.
Exactly. Got bunch formation right there.
So I just showed the space because, again, this is what happens when you got Derrick Henry in the backfield.
They sucked up. Linebackers and DBs are all in the backfield. Nobody even looking at other than the DB that's head on the top receiver. Other than that, everybody else is in the backfield. One safety who's 10 yards off finally sees the receiver coming across the middle.
And it's like the DB is probably being told you have to stay as deep as possible because they do have deep threats, especially when Treylon Burks is back in the game. So it's like this is where the gap comes up. They don't want to jump anything prematurely, but like to your point, all the eyes are in the backfield. And so they can make first window throws, they can make second window throws. They just have time because it also does what to the pass rush?
It slows them down.
Slows them right down.
Because they're all beat up and are they waiting for 22 to hit the gap. And that hurts. Nice fake.
I mean, look at the time.
Yep.
I mean, you get all the way across the field, to throw a high drag.
It works. That's what you want. That's a win.
So we got the trips look. So I just wanted to kind of show this from a scheme standpoint. I thought it was interesting. So you can see that we got trips right, and the way that the Broncos defensive backs are tipping their coverage, right? So they're running quarters to the far side. They're going to run some version of cover 2 over here. So Tanny already knows it. He's sitting in shotgun. You can see it when your safeties tip off like the Denver Broncos did last week, which is really honestly kind of surprising given their defensive history. Then all of a sudden you have easy throws where you're going to make that inside slot defender make a decision. Yep. And you have wide open spaces because they're already showing. Now they do it again. They're tipping off early before the snap. Tannehill's in shotgun. And this is where having two safeties back there, or like even we ran last week where we ran two safeties, put Rudy Ford in the middle, and essentially we're running Tampa 2 with a third safety. Like this is where muddling the coverage up. This is something you have to do with a guy like Ryan Tannehill. If you're going to make it crystal clear for him pre-snap, dude, he's an accurate passer. That's never been the question. The question has been, are we reading coverages at kind of the elite level speed?
Yeah, so you got to disguise it. Don't cheat. Don't panic. Don't hit the panic button. I think when people cheat, they're panicking, and they give up what they're trying to do to the offense.
We got maybe one more pass play. So we got empty. So again, you got that play action look, and you just see these guys. Oh, so sometimes you just want to have fun. I know we're not playing the Broncos, but
you talking about the DBs running to each other?
Yeah, man. Sometimes I'll just put stuff on here because you see something, you go, look at where is it?
Yeah.
Next play. Okay, look at these two guys. These two poor guys here. I mean, it's like who's on first?
Come on, man.
Hey, look. So they ran the flea flicker, right? So we're not even watching. I mean, they ran a flea flicker for a touchdown last week. So good on them for running a trick play. Like, you got to be smart about it. But you see two guys fall down in the National Football League.
In the pros, it's a problem.
You just kind of got to appreciate it. So that's Westbrook kind, the Nick Westbrook kind. So that's a good one. That's a good one to end on for the Titans offense, man. But the Titans defense is good. Jeffrey Simmons, like we talked about, is good. Bud Dupree's out. I think that's a big deal.
It is. He calls a lot of pressure. He can get up the field fast. He uses his hand. He's just that speed rush, aggressive, experienced linebacker being drafted to Pittsburgh, and that's where he gained really good experience up there.
So they limit teams to 85 yards per game, number 2 in the league, and 3.6 yards per carry, number 3 in the league. They've been beat up like we talked about. They have 29 sacks. So you remember last year, they don't really have these named guys, but they're getting all of these sacks. You're trying to figure out what they're doing so well. They get a ton of sacks. They run games, and Bud Dupree when he's in, all the other guys that are coming up from the edge, because Jeffrey Simmons, because Kevin Strong, because Naquan Jones, Dear Tart, these guys can pressure through they take guards and centers and put them in the quarterback's lap and force problems. Now, the other thing you got to look at when you watch this team, and I don't know if David Long is going to be in the game this week. I think he's back. David Long Jr. is one of their linebackers, and they run stunt to one of the ways they stop all the running game stuff is they run stunt all the time. And so when you watch their defense, man, that is what stands out. Is this guy is like he's super active, and so a lot of people are going to say, "How are we going to deal with these run stunts?" And as we watch this, you'll see like not only there's a counter to that, right? Because if you're going to be too excitable about biting on the run defense, you got issues, right?
Yep, you're gonna have people in it open.
So this is from last week, and we'll just hit some real quick game stuff for fans to look at. So Russell Eppert's in the backfield. They run trips left, and they get confused on their coverages. And one of the things that we talk about a lot of times is one of the Tennessee Titans' like probably biggest strengths is they hide their coverages really well. Sometimes they hide them from themselves, and you see guys falling off in like what should be a cover two. Nobody. Like two people shouldn't be carrying the underneath receiver.
Right.
They make a little bit of a mistake. Right. Yep, so the end guy should have come up and they make these plays, and guys are getting yards after contact, yards after catch. I don't know why it's all jammed up there, but what we're trying to demo, and maybe we'll demo it right here, is these guys. They just do a phenomenal job of attacking. Here's a run stunt.
Nice jump.
And what it does is. And AG, like you know this from being a running back, right? When you're looking in the backfield and taking this handoff, when you see initially you're thinking like, hey, left guard center have a great double team right here. I feel pretty good about this.
Yep, I could probably keep it play side. Or keep it, it's going that way.
Yeah. So
I have a chance. Gotta wait though.
And so now the center, you see the center's wide base. So 93 jumps from his left shoulder to his right shoulder. David Long hits that B gap, takes the guard off. And so they've overcommitted. Guy backdoors him, and all of a sudden you're sitting in this position like, man, I don't even have the ball yet. And these guys are going hunting for me.
Been there, done that. But yeah, just try to be an athlete. That's what the running back.
Hey, what do you mean been there, done that? Hey, take it easy.
Not
meant later in your career.
Oh yeah, definitely later in my career. 100% later, being down south in Houston. Oh, for sure.
Well, Teair Tart, this guy's been playing really well.
Yeah.
And one of the things they do is they move around. And again, like we said, they do a lot of run stunts. And they commit guys to the line of scrimmage. You can see here, man, they're playing man on. This is like early in the game, second and long, third and long. And they just want you to know, like, we are not afraid to take some risks. We'll play the sticks and make sure you get out of there fast. So this was actually the first 3 or 4 plays of the football game, or 3 out of the first 4.
No surprise.
This is how they start the game. You know, it's like high risk, high reward, run stunts, mess up a couple coverages, super hard flow to the football. So like they're giving you the effort, they're giving you the physicality. And I think with a Vrabel coach team, like obviously they're good with the details. They do make some mistakes and there are some opportunities, but they just play hard.
Yeah. Playing hard sometimes and having that effort, like you said, get sucked up in the play action game. But being aggressive throughout, sometimes you get away with either doing stuff because you're doing stuff high effort, full speed. But then every now and then you'll somebody trip and fall, or somebody just be off a gap in their execution of a play. Then that's where some of the big plays you can find, but it'll be very few and far between. Excellent.
So this is one of those, AG. So they just run an under center play action pass, and you see wide open. This is actually an explosive play, coming out of your own end zone. And like, why does it happen? I mean, they've committed to the run. They got 3 linebackers in, old school. We got 13 personnel in the game, or 12 personnel in the game. Dude, and look at that. I mean, they're all, 100% everyone's to the house.
Yeah.
These plays couldn't be more open. You just need that one guy at lead receiver to block. They're essentially just running a flood route to the right, and it's easy football.
Sure, it is actually in and pass coverage here, pass alert.
So we talked about it before. They disguise their coverages. Sometimes you think they disguise them from themselves. So they got a trips right look here, and they end up bailing into like a cover 2 here with the outside corner. Okay, so they're trying to disguise that coverage. But what happens is when you bail into cover 2, like which way is your shoulder supposed to face, AG?
Cover 2 inside.
So
inside.
Look. So
he's facing outside. You mean at the bottom here?
Yeah. So he should be look where his number 1 reads out here. He's got this half of the field, right?
Yeah. But his shoulder should be to the field. To the field.
Yeah. So So because they ran this guy through the seam and they're not carrying him like they should, again, sometimes these guys get muddled up with their own coverages. Like,
because he looks like he's man pressed right there.
Well, I'm talking about the guy on the 48-yard line on the left side of the field.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he gets all bent out of shape, realizes it too late, and that pocket's been open multiple times now already. It's only the second quarter of the game.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, again, it just, the opportunities are there under center play action, and some of these coverages where they're trying to disguise, it just becomes problematic. The Chiefs do some good stuff here, man. Like,
yeah, that's a good job by Juju sitting in the zone, finding an opening.
Go back. Sorry, this thing's not perfect with the rewind, but
yeah.
So to your point, they're just going to pray that, you know, sometimes you just pick on one guy. You know, it's like a lot of pass concepts. Like, we're just going to make this one guy make a decision.
Yep.
You know, if he goes out to the slot, great. We'll give it to Juju. If not, like you said, great job sitting down. But like, we're showing these plays, like all these are explosive plays, 15 yards or more.
And that's a good job of watching film, because when you watch film, you get to see those little tendencies or little errors, MAs that the defensive players are making, and you could get some rewards off of that.
So they go motion to trips, under center, play action pass again, and you just see everyone's equal. When everyone's equal, that means Travis Kelce wins, right? Because they're all facing the wrong direction. And again, I think there's just massive opportunities here. And you know what we haven't seen this year? We really haven't seen a lot of like a Robert Tonyan running these like heavy drag routes across the back end of this. And you see like 51 has no chance of catching up because they're just too committed to stopping that run game.
Right. And then they might need to get back to that, you know, get him in the open space when the run game is activated.
So in the run, because when you're running run stunts, and I don't know about you, AG, but I remember like when we were all playing together and we had a good offensive line and really good communication, we actually were very excited when guys ran run stunts and all this kind of stuff against us, because it's actually like, for us, if we know it's coming and we can predict it, it's easier to block than just blocking a guy who's like can do whatever he wants, right? He's using the kind of his skill and technique. Because most of these guys have to kind of force themselves into a specific gap. So it's a little bit more mechanical and robotic. So you see here, they're going to pass off this game. And kind of, we used to call this like a triple look, right?
Okay.
So they bring the safety down, and they go both guys inside. They pass it off, and they just get the right tackle just enough to turn the shoulders of that outside backer.
Yeah.
And then this kid who you know has been running really hard.
Yeah, he's running really hard, running really good. Not a big back, but he runs big. Nice.
You look at the toss crack. This guy runs angry, man.
Good. Yeah. Like I said, he runs big. He runs big. He runs bigger than what he is. But good cutoff by some of the linemen here in the Texans.
You can just see Lazard. You can just see Lazard lining up right here, right, and then just getting DeGuara goes in the backfield. Yosh coming around, making this play
like up there, backside. Yeah,
we've just seen this play over and over with the Green Bay Packers, so it looks like something we can afford to do. If they go to the box, you just have to be able to punish them. I think they're just running an old school gap here, bud.
Yeah, you got to skip through when you get to see the contact run fits. Get back.
Did I? No, wrong way.
It like goes from there. Oh, there it is. Let's see what happens.
So they got tight end left. So AG, so this is one of your favorite plays. So this is like 17 gap, right? So it's not power because we just have the single polar here. We don't have a fullback. 17 gap. You got you got a 9 and a 3 to the side of the play. So you're going to get that 2-man double team on the 3 technique with the left guard and the left tackle, and they're going to push across. You got the right guard coming around for that backer. What is your read here? How do you see this?
Well, I'm saying inside hip on the guard coming around, and whatever he takes his guy, if I'm on his inside hip, then it's easy for me to just keep straight up the field. But if he ends up logging him, then I got to make sure I gather enough space between him and I, so I don't get caught up on the log block.
That's interesting. So your read, you actually have a trust with that pulling guard, because I know like Stephen Davis, when I was with Carolina, they actually taught to read this differently, because he would backdoor it a lot because the center would get beat over the top.
Right.
And so they, instead of reading the guard, they started reading either the center or the backside, the inside of the double team, because they actually tried to turn it into a different play. It's just
like a trap. They're trying to look at it like they're making him.
Well,
like a trap
I think and I think that was, but I think it was just because the center was getting beat over the top a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? So it's like, you know how sometimes they're like, oh, this isn't working. Oh, that one play worked. Oh, let's change all the rules. Yeah.
Right.
It was kind of like that, bro.
Because Flanny wasn't getting beat over top, or Frankie either.
Well, yeah, he was.
So I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to worry about it. So I'll just either follow you or Marco. Yeah. You know, if I was going left or right, if I was going left or going right, I was following you. If I was going left, I was following Marco. And I'll stay inside hip. And as soon as you kick out that block, that tells me, okay, you kicking out, I'm just turning it right upfield. But if you get them and log them, then I'm kicking it to the outside.
Okay, so I believe this is just the old 95 release play. So they're going to take the tight end and run him backside. I think everybody in the league's running this play.
Yeah, or wham play.
Yeah. So you're just reading the left guard is read 1 into the backside read 2 here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So as I see play side guard got his guy contained, I'm hitting that as fast as I can. So I don't want no arms tackling to come out. Get upfield.
These guys are super aggressive off the ball. They do a nice job. I think the center does a great job of just getting enough of that on that chips on the left gap side before he comes back. That's just super, super critical.
Yeah, you can see the hitting. I mean, right here, they're being physical on the inside. Denver and Tennessee's line off the ball.
Dude, I just wanted to, I included this play just because I just wanted to point out. Sometimes you just want to point out when guys are doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
So this is a wide 9 technique, right? And they're just running 99 handoffs. Yeah. They're running 99 handoffs solid here against with a hipped off tight end. So this is not an easy block.
It's hard.
Dude, look at the job that the tight end and the tackle do on this 9 technique, man. I mean, that's big time ball. Then he captures 24's edge. Dude, that is big time.
Yeah, that's huge. That was nice because he's already wide. It's a wide 9.
Yeah.
Like you said, and then the tight end, he's sitting in what we call that. We used to call that something. I can't think of the name right now.
Like hipped off though, right?
Yeah, like hipped off. He's uneven to the line of scrimmage where he got to come off fast to get square again. Mm-hmm. So he has to reset that. But then the good thing is he has help from the tackle to do that, and they end up getting the edge on him on the DN. And so that is a double plus win because then the running back can get escorted to the outside without contact, as we saw with Melvin Gordon, and he was able to get about 8-9 yard gain, almost a first down.
One of the things, obviously, when the tight end position turned into more of a receiver position, they started taking them off the ball because they could do those wham blocks, they could do those release blocks off the backside. Correct. But one thing it does do is it messes up your timing. If I'm here and the tight end's here and we're working off, this guy's basically got to catch up to me, or I'm going to hit, and he's got to figure out how to fit in.
It's not even.
Yeah, it's not even, so it's not as clean. You're not going to get the kind of push you want. When you see push like that, and they really are hip to hip, man, you just got to nice job, right? Because
great job.
We know how hard it is, and especially with the lack of practice time they have in this
these days. A lot of physical practice. A lot of physical practices.
So you see some opportunities there, right? Under center play action. You see 100%. Some opportunities in trips and empty looks because they do muddle their coverage, but they also make some mistakes in their coverage when they're shifting. They go from we're showing 3, we're going to 2. We're trying to show our quarters, we show it too early. They do a good job on all that stuff. Most importantly, when they get to 6 in the box, we have to capitalize. And then maybe more than anything else, you have to win on your double teams, understanding that you have to stay square because these linebackers are going to attack those gaps. And so it's going to be fast. And so those teams that are trying to knock the defensive tackle over and then rise up real fast, dude, you are going to get hit and hit hard. That defensive tackle is going to recoil. Keep it hip to hip, go up, make that linebacker commit to you, and then let guys like AG, guys like Aaron Jones, guys like AJ Gillen, allow them to make that read and make them look like the stars that they are.
Yeah, because we know with Verbo's defense, they're going to be hammering the entire game.
Absolutely.
Coming downhill.
So I got keys to the way you want to. What do you think? What are your keys this weekend, AG?
All right, yeah, I can start. I can start this week. So with Packers defense, man, I say slow. You're not going to stop the guy, but slow Derrick Henry down because then as the game goes on, then fourth quarter, he's going to be trying to make stuff happen, and that's where you could continue to tackle him in the backfield. That you saw the Texans were successful to do that. You saw the Broncos were successful to do that, but they didn't stop him, but slow him down, hold him to where he was at last week that the Broncos had. He had 53 yards for the game. They still won, but keep him in that neighborhood. And then
you'd rather have Tanny beat you than Derrick Henry, right?
And that's my next point. Take Tannehill out the game, or make Tannehill throw the ball, one of the two, and decide and be better at disguising those coverages because he's now experienced quarterback. It's been almost 10 years he's been in the league, regardless of how he got in from a wide receiver to quarterback. He is now a quarterback and been at that position for a while now. So if you give up the easy reads and coverage for him, he will just, pick and dive because he knows every 4 plays, I'm going to throw the ball because the other 4, I'm giving it to number 22. So do that, slow Derek down, make either Tannehill beat you with the throw or take him out of the game 1 or 2. And that's where the defense gives the offense challenge to, get in rhythm. So offense get in rhythm, establish the run game. So basically last week, carbon copy of last week, establish the run. Then the PAP is going to open up. And then we may have you're hoping for another Watson game where he has breakout or another receiver, Tonyan gets woke up, get some catches and some touchdowns going. And then keep playing with the effort and pride that we saw last week. We saw that 100% effort that we're looking for as a team with the backs up against the wall. Your back is against the wall still. You're not, the wall's right there is not over yet. Still fight like that from the Badger, from the back wall, from the ball coming in and try to get a victory here. What about you? What is your keys to the game?
I like yours. When defense got to win the line of scrimmage. And I think this Tennessee Titans team, quite frankly, up front aren't as good as they used to be. They've had some injuries. They're missing some key players. But because they have the right mindset, because they know no matter what happens, they're going to run the ball 30 times. Like an offensive lineman goes into a game differently when he knows he's going to run the ball 30 times, and then 15 of the pass plays are going to be play action. Right. I'm just telling you, it's I'm going to be better because I know I'm going to grade out better. I know Pro Football Focus is going to say I'm a better player because all I'm doing is running the ball and running and keep passes. It gives you confidence. Now it might not be the most effective offense for everybody,
and it might not be sexy either.
Yeah, but it works for these guys. So you have to win the line of scrimmage. Put Tannehill back in the shotgun. Try to disguise coverages, like to your point. But get Henry to when I say win in line of scrimmage, I want Derrick Henry to be cutting off his spot in the backfield. So we have to get some penetration, no question about it. Offense, we got to establish Aaron Jones. 3.5 yards of carry. We know it's going to be tough. Understand that they run stunt. Understand that there's opportunities because they do run stunt. Find the weak links, find the soft points, and exploit those opportunities for big plays. I think Aaron Jones has been doing that all season. It's just a question of can we get the same kind of effort from the tight ends we got last week? And maybe to the larger point, in my third point of emphasis is can we call the right game plan 2 weeks in a row? And I mean that honestly might be the biggest thing is are we willing to say, dude, I'm okay with 208 yards passing and 270 yards rushing because I know that equals victory for us. Exactly. Are we good with doing that, or are we going to be no, the looks weren't right, so we had to throw it 35 times again?
Exactly. We see that Sonny Carson in the garage with number 12 on the side. I got that thing over there. But 20 or the 33 and what's AJ's number? 20. 28. I think it's 28. Oh, we got 33, 20 over here. Okay, so don't get mesmerized by the number 12 over there. Stick to the 33. You got to.
It's not mesmerized, Mike. It's just it's hard because you know how good he is.
That's what I mean.
It's like when you have a bazooka, but you're trying to kill a sparrow, you don't take the bazooka out of the case. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Go ahead and use the weapon that is required to win the day. And we have to run the football, play action. We just showed you guys on tape. That's how they play week in and week out. Their linebackers flow fast. They run stunts. And if you sit and drop back, go watch the Rams game from last year. If you are dumb enough to sit and drop back against these guys, they will murder you. And if Jeffrey Simmons is in the game, I'm just telling you right now, and especially if EJ is not playing, we do not have an interior offensive lineman that can even kind of block him. And I'm not bashing our guys. I'm just telling you, I didn't think he was like that.
He's just that type of talent.
He's like that. He is all kinds of that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, man. So I had a special hero of the week, and we didn't talk about it on Monday. We probably should have.
Right.
We have all these injuries. We have 2 guys out on ACL. We have all these lower body extremity injuries because of, in large part, of the turf, and specifically the silt turf, which is Kentucky bluegrass meshed with synthetic grass, and they're saying that that's the best solution. And here's the thing that everybody needs to understand. Okay, the NFL, I was in the NFL, I was on this side. I was literally the person doing the studies or working with Penn State and all these different colleges that have these experts, have these very specific buildings that do this stuff. Okay, turf experts, and all the rotational the cleat, the different cleats that we're supposed to use. I saw all of it. Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you. The National Football League has a vested interest in making sure that those reports show you that there is a non-statistical significant difference between grass and turf, because the expense of moving grass in, growing grass on a side thing and putting it through pallets. You see what Tottenham's doing, what the Texans used to do. It all is a cost associated with that they don't want to deal with. The players came out on Saturday and spent the day on their social media saying, this has to stop. Even if everyone wants to believe that your reports are not in the best interest of you, specifically you being the owners, because we are the people that run your programs. The reason that the people show up is to watch us as a courtesy. Do us the courtesy of getting rid of the thing that we think is hurting us. And I don't know what's going to happen. I doubt they made any change, but I'm glad they started actually as a unified. At least they said so. Yeah, as a unified source, they went out and said, this is wrong. Please make a change. Enough is enough. We've got a couple guys like Pete Carroll that are on the same page as the players, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, wait and see. But like that, coaches, there are some coaches that are supporting us too. This is big.
AG, let's hit a couple things before we leave as far as the upcoming games. Well, Jesus, first of all, Packers are -3, which means they're favored by 3 in the game tonight. We're at home. You taking the Packers in this game?
I say I'm gonna take the Packers. I say they stick to the script from last week. And it's going to be a tight game, though. It's not going to be just a walkover. It's going to be like last week, going up potentially overtime, or fourth quarter is going to boil down to it. And it depends on the turnovers. It's going to be just like last week. It was a turnover type situation that got the teams to get even and then go to overtime.
This is a mistake that I'm going to make right now. But after watching that tape again, so, I watch the film, I make a tape, and then we watch it.
All right.
So I've seen it enough times. I'm going to tell you this is an absolute lock. The Green Bay Packers are going to win this game. There's no way they watch that tape,
right?
And don't not talking about our tape. There's no way they watch the tape on the Tennessee Titans and go, we know exactly how to defeat these guys. Like, they play physical. I get all of that, and it's basically like, if you don't drop back the entire game, we're going to be okay, right? If you put in, like, we've got tons of defensive tackles. Jaron Reed's playing out of his mind right now. Dean Lowry, obviously Kenny. Like, we got Preston Smith can play run defense against these guys. Like, Enagbari going to have a hard night tonight because they're going to lean on him a lot. He only weighs 245 pounds.
He's going to learn. He's going to learn tonight.
Right. But we can Isaiah McDuffie's in. He's going to be in there thumping. Dude, yep. I don't know the Chris Barnes situation. Hopefully he's in there with Quay. Like, if we can get those stops and just make this kind of the game that we want to make it, then we're going to win this game. Let's call it a lock. It's a lock.
Yep, it's a lock.
I've never made a lock before, which means I probably just screwed everybody over. All right. All right, let's do – okay, so they might move the Buffalo – so the Buffalo Bills are playing –
yeah, because they're calling for 3 feet to 6 feet of snow. Good gracious.
Okay, they're 8.5-point favorites. AG, what would you say if they're like – I guess the only real problem is because if it's snowing, then it's really not that cold, right? It's cold when it's not snowing, right?
Exactly.
But I guess where the hell do you put 3 feet of snow? Like, if there's 3 feet of snow, you're like, where the hell do you store it?
Well, I've seen past Buffalo, I guess, shovel how they shovel out the stadium. They put it right in the stands where the fans are.
Yeah, but 3 feet, dude. Like,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
It's 3 to 6 feet. That's a ton. I mean, so yeah, I think they throw it in the stands at the fans and they have snowball fights. That's what they do with it.
The Eagles, Colts at home. Jeff Saturday's second. He's 1-0 as a head coach, right? The guy, into coaching profession. They're 6.5-point dogs. I don't think they're going to win. I think the Eagles are going to bounce back. But God, if the Colts win this week, man. I'd love to see what happens on social media. I'd love to see what happens with Joe Thomas and Bill Cowher, both of who I have a ton of respect for. But the guys that come out and you're just like, dude, what are you talking about? By the way, what work did you put in the booth before you got your jobs as commentators? Like, what the hell's the difference? Like, you have this coaching is the sacred profession, and being a media personality is like any jackass can do that. Like, I'm not sure that's basically what they're saying, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense. So, but no, I got Philly here. I said the only thing about Philly, just like a 1% worry is the last 2 games. They lost the last one, and I remember watching the Texan game they had on Monday night. They were down in that game, and then they slowly came back because of turnovers and all that. So it's like, I'm not saying they are complacent, but they're playing as a team that's maybe too comfortable of what their record is.
It certainly looked that way last week. You're right.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully, was it? I forgot how to say the head coach name. There was Scolani or something like that. I messed it up.
Sirianni?
Nick Sirianni. Just hopefully, as a coach, be mindful. Hey guys, let's focus up. We got to play this team like this, the best team on the field that day, and so do that. Because I remember back in my time in Nebraska, we sometimes play a little bit slower because we're going to come in and we're going to do our thing. But we play teams. I remember Washington State had us down at home 14-7.
The Cougs?
My freshman year, the Cougs. And we woke it up in the second half, and that was the only time we were down on the rest of that season.
Who do you think would win in a game this year, Navy or Nebraska?
Navy. I'm sorry. Navy.
I mean, Nebraska's pretty bad right now, right?
I mean, it's tough. Like, it is, yes, it is that we are bad.
Would you say, okay, let me ask you this question.
We are bad, unfortunately.
How many 5-star recruits are at Nebraska right now?
I'll probably say a handful.
But they have 5 maybe?
At least 5. They have at least 5, maybe more. But I'll say if I'm betting on some number, I'll say at least 5. Okay. 5-star guys. And the rest is 3, 4, and 3 on down. And then, but then the mindset is completely different. Do you have 4?
See, I would have guessed that your team is comprised of 2 and 3-star kids with a sprinkling of 4 and 5, just based on the last 10 years. That's would have been my guess, honestly.
You're about right. You're right. But
you know what I mean? Then on top the foundation of your team's probably 2 and 3-star kids, which is not a bad thing. Like, Nebraska can develop talent, right?
Yes, but yes, they could have. It's
like Iowa. Iowa turns 3-star linemen into multimillionaires.
Your first round draft picks.
Tyler Linderbaum, man. Exactly. Okay, we got Jets, Pats by 3 at home. The Jets have not won this game in 13 games.
Really? I like the head coach here in motivation. He's a good motivator guy. He's a motivator. Saleh, I was with him in Houston. Great dude. But this gonna be a test for him. I mean, he's getting tested twice a year with this team because of Bill Belichick's there. So it's going to be tough in that place. I say if Saleh gets his guys to play defense like he has been throughout the season, they have a chance. But as a betting guy, I will take New England at home.
I'll take New England at home just because I think that
a lot of respect for Saleh.
They lost Vera Tucker and they lost Breece Hall. It's just kind of like –
yeah, that was tough. That was the biggest
It's hard
blow,
to sit here and go like Zach Wilson's going to go into Foxborough and win. You know what I mean? It's just hard to say that out loud.
It's tough.
Let me ask you something. When you're around guys like Robert Saleh in Houston, I know there's been another handful of coaches that you've probably been around in your career that like defensive guys. You're like, God damn it, I wish I would have played defense.
Right.
That's how I was when I was in Carolina. I was like, God damn it, I wish I played defense because I just love I like the defensive that part of the locker room,
right?
And that meeting, I like those guys so much more than I did the offense. I was like, dude, I vibe with you guys. Can I play? Can I play with you guys this week? You know,
hey, that'd be DN. So hey, check this out. So in Texas, when I was there, Kyle Shanahan was the OC.
Wow.
Mike McDaniels was a quarterback assistant.
Yeah.
And Robert Saleh was on the defensive side. And DeMeco Ryans was the rookie of the year and second year starting linebacker.
Wasn't he a good player? He was such a
great
good player.
Yep.
Hey, and then that was Bill. Was that Gary
Kubiak first year. Coobs.
And Coobs was actually an incredible coach.
Yeah, he was a good coach. He struggled there because
but okay, that's fair.
It was a mess.
But like it was Denver, a mess.
But it wasn't on Coobs, and I knew that. Like as a pro coming in there, being in Seattle, being in Green Bay, I knew the pressure he was under. It was kind of like my rookie year in Seattle with Dennis Erickson. Dennis Erickson looked like he knew his death sentence was coming. Every time we had meetings, every time it was just as a rookie, I was like, I see him coming in. He's like, I'm like, man, this might be it for me. Exactly. And I'm like, man, the NFL sucks right now. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I saw that same thing 10 years later, or as a 10-year vet with Gary Kubiak. He would come in doing one of these and, hey guys, and huffing and puffing.
That's a hell of a coaching staff though. Now looking back, right?
Looking back, those guys were all together and they grew together. And I'm not surprised at what they're doing now. You know, when they were putting that work in with us then in 07 and 08.
All right, we got Giants at home versus Detroit. Giants are favored by 3 at home, so it's basically a toss-up game, right? So Detroit won last week, beat us, and then won against the Bears, 31-30.
Mm-hmm.
Goff's playing well, still scoring a lot of points. What do you think?
I'll say the effort for the Lions is what I like. they just still make too many mistakes for themselves. But not saying it's going to happen here, but I just know Giants know who they are, and they are Saquon, and they got receivers to help out Daniel Jones off the play action pass. So they know who they know their identity.
They're another team like the Titans, where you go like, if you're an offensive lineman or a running back or anybody on offense, you're kind of going like, well, I'm gonna have a good grade today, right? Because I'm gonna run outside zone, counter, pass, play action pass, fake pass. Like, dude, it's all you can eat fun time. You know, every once in a while I might have to do like one drop back for a screen or something like that. Sometimes you watch these, like I get mad at watching. I'm like, God, that looks amazing.
Like, oh my God, I could just see that cut. Boom.
It's like running the veer option when I was in college. I remember I got to the NFL.
I ran that in high school. Oh my God. Yeah.
Dude, you ran in Nebraska, but you remember you go back in and you go like, if you're a lineman, you like get to run the ball all the time. All of a sudden you come to the NFL, you're like, what do you mean I got to throw the ball? Like I don't want to. Pass pro sucks. You know what I mean?
Which it does. Yeah. 100%.
Hey, Dallas, Minnesota is basically a push. It's Dallas is favored by 1 at home versus Minnesota somehow, which doesn't make any sense. I'm going to take Minnesota here.
Me too. I'm taking Minnesota.
What the hell? How is Minnesota not a favorite here?
I don't know.
Even if this is a push, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but I'm going with the Vikings. They playing good ball, and they got a guy by the name of Justin Jefferson that could do special things.
Is he the best receiver in the league right now?
I said right now, yeah. I said he's a guy that, if you got to bet on it, he's going to do some special things. He shows up to play every game. He shows up.
Chiefs, Chargers at home. They're dogs though. 6-point dogs.
Yeah, it's I said the only thing here is a divisional rivalry, and that obviously kicks up the aggressiveness.
Remember the last time they played too? That was a hell of a game. Remember, Herbert threw it to the tight end. The tight end was tired. Remember, he wanted to take himself out. What the hell's the game?
Yeah, I remember that. And he fumbled it or something like that. He fumbled
it. He just ran a shit route. Remember, he ran a shit route. Sorry for the language. And then the guy went 97 on him the other way. That was the Chiefs, right?
Oh, it was a pick six. Yeah, it was a pick six. Yep, that was the Chiefs game. Yep, exactly. It got Pat Mahomes off the ropes with that one bad play.
Hey, so I know we run out of showtime here. What do you think? I don't know how much you watch the Chargers. What the hell's wrong with that team? Every year since 2005 to 2009, they got the most talented team in the National Football League. And
Great question.
They can't piss a drop. Now they got the best young quarterback in the planet. They got Austin Eckler's a great running back. They got 2 great receivers. I know one of them's been hurt. They got a tight end. They got an offensive line. Rashawn Slater.
Defense.
They got so Joey got hurt. But they brought in Mac. They brought in that guy.
Darvin
they brought in the
Jr.
Patriots guy. Who they bring in the Patriots? The DB. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's the DB's name for
the
guy that they brought in? You know who I'm talking about.
I'm trying to think of his name. Hold on, go.
It's Jay something. Let me take a look at this because we got to get this name right. They came over for the Patriots for a monster deal. It's not Asante Samuel. It is. Well, they got Derwin James, who's a badass.
Yeah, he's a boss.
But look, I'm going to read you this defense. Morgan Fox from Carolina, backup 3 technique last year, plays here. Badass, like player. Sebastian Joseph Day, good player. Kyle Van Noy, role player, not a great player, but a role player, solid player in the National Football League. Khalil Mack, Asante Samuel Jr., Derwin James, right?
Problem.
Bryce Cal. I mean, you're just going like, what the? These guys are stacked. What the hell is going on? How are you not good? How are you and they're objectively bad on defense right now, aren't they?
I would say they're just not on the right page with each other, player to player in scheme. So 3-4 defense, where they're calling coverages to blitzes to stunts, are just trying to get on that page of being together at the same time at the right time. Basically, that's how I answer that question.
Coaching. I think you just said coaching.
Basically.
Now that guy Staley was with. He was a Rams guy, right?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah. He didn't even have to switch houses. I tell you what, good living out there if you can buy if you can get it. All right, my man. Well, we'll see how this game goes tonight. We will be back on. Well, shoot, we'll do the show on Monday. Still, we don't need to do. We can do a quick reaction maybe tomorrow. We'll do the show on Monday with everything broken down.
Yep.
Does that make sense? That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, let's do that. AG, tell everybody where we can find you, bud.
Yeah, find me on Instagram and Twitter at AmonGreen30, all one word. And if you're into video games, Amon Green's Gamers Lounge on TikTok.
Well, what about Twitch? You always talk about Twitch with me. You want to tell everybody about Twitch?
Oh, Twitch. Yeah, that's where I do the podcast live on Amon Green TV, which eventually soon is going to be Amon Green's Gamers Lounge, where we talk about video games and what's going on in the industry. And now Xbox, Mike, they have their 6-month transparency reports on how they're enforcing toxic gamers. So bullying, cyberbullying, trash talking, racial slurs, all type of stuff, how they're enforcing it. And they have the numbers in the millions, man.
Really?
They didn't shut down close to 5 million accounts for all those genres. That's how bad gaming is, and they're trying to make it right. It's crazy.
I'll tell you what, man. Well, hey, listen, special thanks to our sponsor, betonline.ag.
Thank you. Yep.
Find me, MikeWall68 on Twitter, Process to Perform on Instagram. Check out our show anywhere you get your podcast. You want to check out the video, go to youtube.com/Process to Perform. Subscribe, rate, and review on all the stuff we've got. Love to hear your feedback. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go. Peace.